Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Monday, July 13th, 2015, around 6:57 in the morning in Billerica, Massachusetts. Going to be a humid day, sunny out, highs around 80, but no 90s today. Some news to report. Lowell Spinners beat Monongahela Valley by the score of 6-5, and Scott Walker is running for President of the United States, and the first half of the Major League Baseball season's over. So tonight's the Home Run Derby, tomorrow night's the All-Star Game from Cincinnati, and Wednesday and Thursday, no Major League Baseball games scheduled. And that's about it on the news. My first video subject of the day is the review of the Great American Bash 1997 WCW pay-per-view from the Mark at the Quad Cities in Moline, Illinois. This pay-per-view was headlined by a non-sanctioned lights-out anything Falls Count Anywhere match between Randy Macho Man Savage and Diamond Dallas Page. Plus they had for the WCW World Tag Team Championship the Outsiders Hall and Nash facing against Rowdy Piper and Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! Plus other matches. No dark matches on this card, and calling the action for this pay-per-view was Tony Schiavone, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and for a few matches, the Professor and Mike Tenay. The first match on this pay-per-view was the Ultimo Dragon facing off against Psychosis with Sonny Ono in Psychosis corner. And Psychosis is a Mexican wrestler, and like Sonny Ono, who was like of Asian descent, was with Psychosis. I thought he would be with Ultimo Dragon. Anyway, this was a good match, about 14 minutes back and forth match. Great match to open up things. Both wrestlers were like kind of like high flyers and stuff. Ultimo Dragon won this match when he put Psychosis in Dragon Sleeper, and Dragon Sleeper and he tapped out. The next match was for the #1 contenders for the WCW World Tag Team Championship. It was Harlem Heat, Booker T and Stevie Ray with Sister Sherry facing off against Rick and Scott Steiner brothers. And this was a good match, competitive match. Ending of the match had like when Booker T was going for the Harlem Hangover, Vincent of the NWO interfered and attacked Booker T, causing the disqualification for the Steiners. I think the Outsiders were afraid of the Steiners, so they had Vincent come in and beat Harlem Heat up and stuff. But Harlem Heat beat up Vincent. This was not a great match in my opinion. The next match was Conan facing off against Hugh Morris. Both wrestlers were in the Dungeon of Doom, but they had a falling out. And this was a decent match. Hugh Morris went for a top rope maneuver, but he missed. And Conan put the Tequila Sunrise on him, and Hugh Morris just tapped out. The next match was Glacier facing off against Wrath with James Vandenberg and Mortis in his corner, but Mortis was handcuffed to the ring post. And this was a decent match and stuff like that. 12 minutes of the Glacier versus Wrath, and Mortis feud was underrated and stuff like that. They called it Blood Rings Cold and stuff. Blood Rings Cold was originally going to be the name of Kevin Nash when it was going to come into WCW. And this was a back and forth match. Ending had like Mortis, try to throw a chain to Wrath, but Glacier intercepted it, knocked out Wrath with the chain, 1, 2, 3, but afterwards Mortis gets another key to unlock himself, and Mortis and Wrath and James Vandenberg beat Glacier down and stuff, and they had several referees come down and suits break it up. The next match was for the WCW Women's Championship. It was a title versus career match. It was Akito Hokuto facing off with Sonny Ono in her corner, facing off against Medusa, the challenger. The stipulation: if Medusa won, she would get the WCW Women's title. If Akira Hokuto won, Medusa would have to retire from the world of professional wrestling. And it was a decent match and stuff like that. Halfway through the match, Medusa injures her knee, and Akira Hokuto took advantage of that, and she beat Medusa with a suplex. 1, 2, 3. Medusa's career is over, and a trainer was trying to help her up. Lee Marshall was a guest commentator of this match, and it was an okay match. The next match was a death match. It was the Crippler, Chris Benoit, facing off against Ming from the Dungeon of Doom. Ming had Jimmy Hart in his corner, but early in the match, Chris Benoit scared Jimmy Hart away, and this was like the second step for Chris Benoit to get to Kevin Sullivan, because Chris Benoit beat the Barbarian earlier, a few weeks prior. Now he's facing off against his tag team partner from the Faces of Fear in the Dungeon of Doom, Ming. And this was a great match and stuff like that. Back and forth, back and forth. Ming was an underrated wrestler, in my opinion, in WCW. Chris Benoit won this match with the Crippler crossface, and was pretty good. The next match was Kevin Greene, who played in the NFL at the time, facing off against Steve Mongo McMichaels with his then-wife Deborah in her corner. Deborah didn't show her puppies back then. She was just Deborah McMichaels. And this was a revenge match from the prior year's Great American Bash, when Mongo McMichael turned on Kevin Greene and joined the Four Horsemen. And it was a back and forth match. Ending had Jeff Jarrett, Steve Mongo McMichael's fellow Four Horsemen try to interfere, try to use the Poundberg briefcase, but Kevin Greene ducked, and he hit Mongo McMichaels, and Kevin Greene pinned him. 1, 2, 3. The next match was for the WCW World Tag Team Championship. It was the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash from the NWO, facing off against Rowdy Piper and Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! And this was a competitive tag team match, a decent tag team match, and ending had like all four wrestlers battling in, but Kevin Nash won by giving the power bomb to Piper for 1, 2, 3, retaining the WCW World Tag Team Championships. And the final match, the main event, was a lights out match not sanctioned by WCW. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match. It was Randy Macho Man Savage with Miss Elizabeth in his corner, representing the NWO, facing off against DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. Bada boom, bang! With his then-wife Kimberly in his corner. This was a great match. Savage and DDP would always put on great matches and stuff. Falls Count Anywhere, went all over the building and stuff like that. But the ending had interference by Scott Hall of the NWO, Randy Savage NWO teammate, and Scott Hall gave DDP the outsider's edge, and Randy Macho Man Savage takes advantage of it, delivers the elbow, and pins him. 1, 2, 3. And that was about it for that pay-per-view. I give this pay-per-view, The Great American Bash 1997, a B-. It was a solid pay-per-view. It was not as good as the previous one, 1996, but it was good. They didn't have Hollywood Hulk Hogan on there defending the WCW Championship, or the Giant, or Lex Luger, so it kind of didn't have some WCW great names on there to wrestle. And that's about it on that. I'll be back later. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter with 2 more video blogs. Will be about most likely landing spaces for Bill Simmons, the sports guy, and my personality profile will be about actress Patty Duke, who was a semi-regular on the Match Game. Have a good day. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Keep calm, and I'm a Julie Button guy, and Marley Rosenblunt of Fox 35 Rocks, and in words of Sean Lucha, get out! Bye now!